Welcome. How is everybody? Oh my goodness, we made it to this day. This
There we
day,
go.
I've been waiting for this day for so long. It's unusual. We have Pluto entering Aquarius again. He did in March, and then he went retrograde again. But for him to go station direct in Aquarius the same day that Sun enters Aquarius tells me something huge. Spirit is planning something huge, right? So this isn't just your ordinary, uh,
Egress.
you know, yeah. This is totally quantum. It really is quantum, off the wall. Off the charts. I, I'm struggling with words. I wanted let me say, let's introduce Diana. Diana's here, and she brought a surprise. I was gonna text her earlier and say, "Oh, bring a really cool crystal. Something that you think would, resonate with Pluto and the Sun going into Aquarius." And I clicked back on. I forgot to text it to her, and she did her hair, and I'm like, "Oh my God, that's perfect. That's exactly a Sun, Pluto into Aquarius. You will really change. You're going to step up into your authentic self. Because
Yeah, my inner Venus was screaming at me. Get rid of that mousy stuff down there. So I just threw some bleach on it just to even it out. I only bleached it from there down. So if it's a little brassy, excuse me, I just did it a couple of hours ago.
it's fantastic. I love it. And it's just
And
so
so long
perfect.
I've done something like this, I don't recognize myself. Plus,
Yeah.
I
And
straightened.
well, now see, isn't that another one of the indicators of today? You're doing things or thinking about doing things that really you really want to do, but you're kind of like, oh, I don't know. I can't remember allowing, giving myself that, you know, that
Well, and
permission.
and so one of the things that I noticed is I've up until this yesterday and today, I felt like there wasn't enough time to get everything done.
Right.
It was like,
Yeah.
and there wasn't ever just enough time to get things done. But yesterday and today, for me, it's been personal hang time. It's like I'm the greatest basketball player on the earth, and I can jump as high as the hoop and stick my arm inside of it while I'm in the hang time before I come back down, and I don't get hurt.
I
That has
woke
never
up.
happened.
I know. I woke up
Never.
with that. I was real chill, and I knew around 9 this morning we were going to have that conjunction where they were at the same degree, 29 degrees together, and I kind of just wanted to honor it in silence. I was writing notes and things like that, but it's so much more than I think any of us are going to be able to express because the last time it was here was 248 years ago. And in astrology, you really don't know what went on at the time until you looking back
And
and
they,
go ahead.
especially since Pluto hadn't been discovered yet, so they
No,
didn't understand any Pluto-like influence that was going
right,
on.
right.
Except Ben did discover electricity.
hmm I mean, and when they did discover Pluto, right, that was what 1930s, and they had just
Yeah,
discovered
33.
Uranus, right? So Uranus was, he's the one brings in shocks and surprises, and believe me, he's a big player right now too. In the background, he's not even finished or close to coming in with what he's bringing. It's going to be interesting. And here comes Sun Psychic Jean. Hi, Jean.
Hi,
Hi,
Jean.
everybody. Hi, Diana. Hi, Val. How are you ladies
Hi.
doing?
Good.
We're
How are you? Good to see
Good.
you.
It's nice to see you. And Diana, I love your new camera. It's gorgeous. I
It's
love all of the
gorgeous.
decor.
It's, thank you. It's just amazing. It's like, thanks for noticing. It's like, I never knew it was bad till I got this new machine.
No.
I thought it was just, that's just the way it is.
And see, these are the types of things that this energy is bringing in. Oh my God, I can see better. I'm clearer. Or I'm like Jean was just talking on the Crone Zone. The downloads are just, whew, it's an epic
Daddy.
time to be alive. This is historic. This is stuff you really want to take note of what's going on in your life, in your family's life, outside. And most of the external world's construct is a little twisted, but still later on as history goes by, it's going to be relevant. There's going to be like before, 248 years ago, where Pluto wasn't even discovered yet, and we found out in hindsight. Well, we have the ability, because of Aquarius, because of AI, to know instantaneous communication. I mean, this is just, it, my mind just keeps blowing all day. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited about this day. And I'm excited to what it is that we're all going to experience, because we are leveling up with this energy. Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of splits in the timeline and stuff, but we pretty much are solid on the fact that we're heart centered, we're soul centered, we're light workers, love workers, energy workers, and we really just want harmony and
Right.
peace and freedom for all, real freedom. And that's what Aquarius represents. And it's just, I'm just so grateful to spend it with y'all. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. It's like that. I got
And
my
everybody,
notes on the way to school, and so they're all over the place. I have no idea what's what anymore.
and everybody's having that, right? It's these glitchy time things. I know I have notes. I know this stuff. I know time was going slow earlier. Now it's sped up, and we're in that quantum field.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, we're
it
getting closer to Pluto himself moving into Aquarius.
Let's see what Jean brought
About
us.
about 4.5
Oh,
hours from now, he'll be moving into Aquarius.
I was going to ask you first, but you.
oh no, let's get into it.
Well, it was just so eloquently put. The way that
Mhm,
they described this massive change, and this was a few days ago, so they were talking about
mhm,
it's on the horizon. And what they said is Pluto will spend roughly 8 months in Aquarius before taking one final retrograde back to
mhm,
Capricorn on September 1st. Then
mhm,
Pluto returns to Aquarius on November 19th. But I said, "Isn't that an auspicious time of year?" And
mhm,
that's where I said, "I'm just gonna leave it right there. Just gonna leave
mhm,
it right there."
Right.
Where where it will remain for the next 20 years uninterrupted. We
yeah.
had a glimpse of what this was going to be like during May and June of 2023. So if you think back and look at that, and then they go on to say when Pluto enters Aquarius, it'll bring advancement and transformative changes in healthcare, technology, data, AI, robots, humanitarian work,
Mm,
global consciousness, and systems of power. I mean, this is all Aquarius, but it's Pluto
mm,
moving into Aquarius, the sun
mm,
moving into Aquarius, all of the planets aligning all at the same, going direct at the same time. It all builds upon each other. It
mm,
all builds the frequency changing on Earth, the evolution of humanity. It's all working together. And I'll just say the last sentence here, and then we can pop off. By the end of Pluto's time in Aquarius, we'll have moved away from a society that values individualism and personal accumulation of power in favor of one that supports the collective.
Namaste.
Absolutely.
You know, and this the upcoming retrograde that we do need to pay attention to, most of that is spent in Aquarius. He only goes 30 minutes, not even a full degree. He only goes, what did I say it was, 36 minutes into in 29 degrees and 36 minutes. So he's like a half an hour or 45 minutes into Capricorn when he goes forward again. So he spends most of that retro time in Aquarius, and it's one of the reasons why he's back in Aquarius so quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he doesn't go that far back. But
the
thing
timing.
with, I mean, the timings, and this is part of what Pluto going back and forth is doing. Every time he goes back into Capricorn, he shows us more of the underbelly of the things we haven't seen, and it shines light. Now, see, today as he's moving into Aquarius with the sun, who's going to shine light. That's the sun's message here. When shine light on everything that's been hidden, it can't be hidden anymore. It's not going to. So we're going to go back and forth one more time, but it's during the election time. That's what we're just going to say it. It is going to be a shit show.
Just put it out there. It's the truth.
And the thing is, though, humanitarian freedom, truth will win.
Right. This is the structure. This is the part of the foundation that we can still use. Mm-hmm. This is where it has to change. This is where the boundaries change. In fact, it's such a short time that he is actually in Capricorn, though he's there during the time of the election itself. Mm-hmm. I use Astro Gold, and it doesn't even indicate a retrograde on Pluto at that time. I mean, I know it is, and the whole world knows it is, but it doesn't give me an R, and it doesn't turn red.
Wow.
But it is extremely significant when Pluto steps backwards. Yep. It speaks a lot. Now, do we know what that is? We kind of got a grasp of what it's going to say, but this is that unreal things that we would have never even entertained are going to come out, and we're going to be like, oh my God. Now, that's just Pluto in Aquarius. Wait till Uranus starts going direct in a week. That's going to bring in a whole nother level and layer to what's going on in the external world. Because really, what all this is about, right, is humanity, freeing of humanity. But we can't be free without knowing what is wrong and how to fix that in love. It's not about war and fighting or calling each other names or anything like that. That's the old age of Pisces. As we enter into the age of Aquarius, we're going to handle things on a more mature level.
And this is going to be the Sedna Pluto trine. That's been with us since 2018 and is going to be with us till 2028. And it is, though Sedna doesn't go into Gemini until July of 2026, something like that. It's within orb because Pluto doesn't move fast in Aquarius. So even though right now or yesterday they were trine in an earth sign, right? Now Pluto's going on into the air sign, and Gemini's an air sign. So when Sedna goes into Gemini, that communication of the healing and how to go forward and how to adapt, because Sedna is about adaptation and sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you end up sacrificing what you didn't really need anyway, or what is causing the biggest part of your troubles.
True. I do feel that it will all come out in the wash, as they say. You know, like we will see what's going on, and have, because the one thing about Aquarius too is the brilliance that comes with it on finding solutions to anything that's going wrong. And it is all about humanity. That's Aquarius's main focus. Is everybody taken care of? Because if they're not, we're going to do that. That's our main focus. So for 20 years, when Pluto goes into Aquarius for good in November, and he'll be there for 20 years, we're going to see all these societal changes for the better.
Right.
It's just going to, people, their brilliance is coming online. When Jean was talking about the downloads on the Chrome Zone channel, we're all getting downloads, and sometimes we don't even know. And think of all the people who have ideas on how to fix things, and that's all going to come out. It's so cool.
Like that little 13-year-old physicist you posted the other day. Oh my God, what a genius! 13 years old, and he's got the solution to the energy crisis that we're in. And like he said, and such an eloquent speaker, right? Of course, you would expect that, but it's getting it out there. It's getting away from that corporate control.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have this because that's how I make money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what has got to be halted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We are the lightning rods for the quickening that makes us the catalyst for the new beginning.
I think this generation and all of us here in this community have been placed in this incarnation to help usher this through. It's almost like we've always felt like we didn't want to be a corporate number or just a number in a bank somewhere, or we always bucked the system when it was not favorable to all or equitable. We always saw the injustice and the inequity, and we wondered, why didn't everybody else see it? Why are people, I call it like the hamster wheel. Why would you get on that hamster wheel and put those blinders on and just, it was very questionable to us. And it's not that we're better or lesser and they're less than. It's that the awareness that we came into this incarnation with, and the awakening that we're opening up to, that lifts that awareness. Others will also be getting an awakening, and we'll be helping them and bringing them on board. And then with all of the genius 13-year-olds that have all of these ideas, we'll be in support of that. We'll be able to elevate and to support that. We all are connected. It's all divinely orchestrated. This is not happening by mistake or by chance or by, it is all divinely orchestrated. One thing is connected to the next thing. And this is why I always say it's important for us to take care of our own energy, our own light, our own auric field.
That's beautiful.
It's so that we can be resilient for those when it's time for those to come online, open up their awareness, and they'll be able to see what we see. So now I do have one other graphic that's kind of fun that I wanted to point out. And so this is beginning January 27th, and that's next week. That's a week from today. And all of the planets will be direct. And Uranus is the last one that we're waiting for, right? And all of the planets will be direct. They'll all be moving in the same direction until April 1st of 2024. So if you all are thinking about starting a side gig or a side hustle, starting a new business, buying that new house, getting whatever, if you felt like you have not been able to make a decision or to move forward in some way with your spirituality, if you want to start meditating, if you want to start taking a class in something, the momentum and the energy that is going to be at our backs, that is going to be supporting us and ushering us forward, we're going to feel like things are just falling at our feet.
Exactly. And you
So
can't close your eyes without having a vision.
so
Whether
true.
it's Excalibur straight up or, you know, a
And
coming in.
yeah,
It's,
and that feeling though of that stuckness of not being able to make a decision, that really is going to clear up. I know so many of us have been in that.
well, and Mercury gets out of his shadow in the morning. Tomorrow
And
morning, he's out of that Capricorn shadow that he's been in. So it is communication begins tomorrow.
yeah. And well, let's talk about this. Okay, Venus, who in Leo in August, was asking us to go into our hearts. Only focus on what you love and value. And it kept like just kept being repeated to me. So every sign she went in, it was the same thing. Well, today she's on the galactic center, 27 degrees, Sagittarius. Really, this is a dream your biggest dream. Dream your biggest wish. Speak it out loud. Write it down. Bring it. We bring it, our reality forward by how we first how we believe, right? And it comes down how we think, how we feel. Feeling it is so important because the feelings are our navigation system. They send out the energy waves so that we can receive those energy waves. And it's a constant back and forth. It's something we always do. But we were taught not the right way. Let's just put it that way. So and now here we are all remembering the right way. And it's so important because she's only got a couple days left in Sagittarius, and then by the full moon on the 25th, Venus, Mars, and Mercury will all be in Capricorn. So that Capricorn is helping us to to bring in our self-responsibility to what is it that you really want to put effort into and work at to bring into your reality to make it the reality that makes your heart smile. And that's what all this is about. No matter what it is, if your heart doesn't smile, it's not for you. Just keep going. But that I think we all kind of know. We have a feeling. This
Well,
is what I'm going to do.
and the beauty of those three being together, Mars and Mercury are already conjunct, and Mars is spinning his wheels. They're a couple degrees apart, but that's close enough for those two guys.
Mm-hmm.
But Mercury knows how to yell, and Mars knows how to throw something back at him, right? So Mars is spinning because he's ready to take action today, and Mercury is like, no, I can't talk to you till tomorrow morning. I still got to do. And Venus, when she joins up with them in Capricorn, she's going to temper the any aspects that come our way, whether they're from the moon that put us in a challenging situation. So the hard aspects, the oppositions, that if you use your opposition correctly, it's a paradigm. It's also a paradox, and it's a miracle, right? It takes a paradox to have a miracle. And so with those three together and her tempering any of those hard aspects, if you listen to her in the transit and in your own chart, you'll come up with a solution that really helps, and how to take action and how to make sure your information is correct.
And you'll feel this Venus energy in our hearts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Plus,
Yeah.
she rules Taurus and Libra. So we have this balance that we really are striving to have, individual and collective. And so because of that, and then you add in the fixedness of, in Libra she's a cardinal, and then in Taurus she's fixed, and she rules Taurus as well. So it's that understanding what works, what doesn't work. We're going to see increases in our financial abilities. I'm not saying this is going to be overnight, but we're going to see the truth is going to, Biden's going to get something done because they have to. And I put it off till March again, but That's about right.
Well,
And not to go back to the politics, but this is the Pluto return of our nation.
mhm. That's why this is such an important day too. I didn't say that in the beginning. This is America's first Pluto return. Now it started in
Oh,
February 2022, but it's been 248 years since we've come
Right.
back and said, how did the American Revolution go? How did all that go? Well, Pluto comes back and he goes, oh, you lied. There's all these distortions. We
Right.
got to fix that because Pluto's about integrity. That's not what you said you were going to do. This isn't right. That not everybody's not free. People aren't welcome. What's going on here? So
Right.
all
And
that gets put in the spotlight.
you were battling the indigenous that were the caretakers of this land, and you were just ripping it away from them. So there's these ups and downs that we still have to deal with, right?
Mhm. It's going to be
And
bumpy.
this is a chance for that healing of community where things were out of balance. And Pluto wasn't discovered at that time. Now we know what his energy is. Now that that's been identified, we have a better opportunity to clear that in our own heart with those who have been wounded as well as those who did the wounding. Because of
Mhm.
because of where Chiron is in Aries and settling in on the North Node, and when we have the eclipse on April 8th, this is all such divine alignment. I could cry.
I know. I seriously could too,
But,
because Chiron's going to come in on the eclipse and
mhm,
heal a lot of these wounds. But here we are, we're still learning what are the wounds? What is the real problem, the crux of the issue?
right.
Why is Pluto still digging stuff up? And because he won't stop. Pluto is death and rebirth, you
Well, and
know?
it's very close to us. So we need to talk about this full moon that's coming up on the 25th. That's just
Yeah.
5 days away. And the moon is going to be in Leo, creating a T square to Pluto and Sun together in Aquarius. And they're creating half a square to Jupiter. And the moon is a half a square to Jupiter in Taurus. So you have Taurus is in rules the second house. And at the time of it in the world chart,
Money.
Pluto and the sun are in the second house. And then Saturn, that is the ancient ruler of Aquarius, is in Taurus. And so each sign is elevated, even though it's a T square. T squares are talent squares. They're challenges that we rise to in order to find success. And that intricacy of this T square is where we're going to find what we really need to change inside of us, because we have the moon in Leo, which is ruled by the heart. And that
Your
brings
heart.
back that heart centeredness.
This is why Venus is such an important player right now. Connecting to your heart and only focusing on what your heart loves and values is going to bring us in those couple days. She's going to end up being in Capricorn to that full moon in Leo, who's about, are you courageous enough to be in your heart, to follow your heart? That's a lot of us were beat down. Look what Warrior Girl here has. History is written by the winners, not always the truth. And that is, I mean, that's so true. But that's where Pluto's coming in, and he's going to level it out, literally level it out, the playing field. It's going to take a long time to uncover, but we are 248 years. He is going to dig it up and show it all to make it right. So in this next year or two, it's going to look really bleak and ugly. But that's going to, on one hand, motivate a lot of people to wake up, to see what the truth was. It's
It's like
never going to be pretty.
the first couple of years of infancy. That's how you have to look at this. because infancy is wonderful. It's cuddly, but it is some of the ugliest time because you got them damn diapers. So until the kid is potty trained, you got to deal with that. And even shortly after it's done, you still have a few moments where you have to deal with that. And the projectile vomiting after eating his formula or nursing, and it's all over everything. Or the surprise, you're changing the diaper on the little boy and he's got to pee, and out comes the stream and you get hit in the face and you go, oh, what the hell was that? Not that that happened to me, but.
And that's part of it though, right? Like Pluto's not going to come in and show us all the, nice and cuddly and warm and fuzzy. I mean, Venus doesn't really even do that. She's known as the goddess of love and indicates love in our charts, but really it's what you love and value.
She's still an evening star. I mean, a morning star. So she is not in her ooh, love me up mode. She is in warrior goddess mode.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of like the one ruling the roost when she's in there in Capricorn with both of those guys. And like, okay, this is how it's got to be.
How long do we have Venus to buffer? How many months or how long?
It's
for the next couple of years.
No,
in
a couple days.
Yeah, she moves into Capricorn by the full moon in Leo. The thing is, every time they change signs, right?
Just a couple days. She goes on the 23rd.
So every time a planet changes signs, it brings in different attributes. Okay, so she's going to have the Sagittarius attributes down. She really wants us to know because we're in that 3 to 4 to 5 degree orb of the galactic center where you can literally speak magic into your existence.
Wow.
Put some thought into it. Sit there for a couple minutes and just with your hand on your heart and say, this would make my heart smile, and state it out to the universe. And so she'll go into Capricorn then on the 23rd. And Capricorn is, how do we get it done? How can I help you create this vision that you have? Now, so, and we're sitting here saying this is for us individually, as we're saying
it's for collective too.
It's for the collective, because the collective stuff is going to take longer. Not that we're not, because a lot of us don't even know what true freedom means. What does that mean to really go into your heart and focus on what you love and value without restrictions blocking you every time you turn your head.
Venus on the collective on the galactic center is in power, and that power is not going to leave her, because every point beyond that is still a point of power, because now she's getting ready to change signs. And when they change signs, it's the same as if going retrograde. It is standing in great power.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's epic. I'm serious. We could create the life of our dreams. We could create the society that we all long for and we know is really our birthright. We were hijacked thousands of years ago. And we came through many lifetimes to right the wrongs, but the powers that were still in charge and silencing most of us. Well, that doesn't play anymore. I'm not, as soon as we enter the Aquarian age, which we're right there in the beginning, but it's still going to take a while, that all that old construct, all that age of Pisces, power over, who has the most money, who has the most power, who has the most toys.
It's all about imbalance and balance. And I see that wrong unconditional love is here. And it's that unconditional love that is that we as humans and as light workers, love workers, are here in this incarnation to bring down to earth to incarnate this unconditional love, this balance, this equality, this masculine, feminine, this what we know exists on the other side. They want us to bring it and manifest it here on earth, this
Yes.
unconditional love. I was talking about telepathy with one of my clients recently, and telepathy is the great equalizer. There's nothing to hide. There is nothing that we're going to be hiding behind, or similarly, we're not going to be holding on to our things so much. We're going to be opening up and sharing. And telepathy isn't reading your mind. It's having the same thought and a very common thought pattern and thought wave and conversation with everybody. It's a oneness. It's a harmony that we're all striving towards. It's not that you want to have a car that doesn't go bump. It is those details, but it's much bigger than that. It's not just that the money has to be fair for everybody. It's that everybody has abundance and is able to create and to exist without having difficulty. It's this really big concept. It's the macrocosm and the microcosm,
Yep.
and together at once, together at the same time. And it's difficult for us because we always look at, it's very important for us to look at ourselves and our own issues and then our country's issues. But this is this is a humanity. This is a evolution of humanity. I mean, it is really that big, and I don't want to overwhelm anybody, but it's what we can do in the microcosm does affect the macrocosm. But if you
the lifting of a finger.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. I mean,
well, and it's a pole, and when you have a pole, what do you have? Me and you, and we both have a thought. Where does my thought begin and yours end, or vice versa? Or for that matter, who had the thought? It's a pole. Who knows?
We're one. We're one pole.
We're one, yeah. And it isn't about us all being identical and not having any diversity or anything like that. But let's just say this: the foundation of how we live, how we participate in society has been skewed against us for quite a long time. I mean, my goodness, we could look back 248 years ago and the Boston Tea Party. What has really changed?
Right.
Really? So that's going to come under the microscope again, because this is ridiculous to have every aspect of our lives affecting us so profoundly that we look in our cities and the homeless populations are just growing. Children are going to not eating 3 meals a day. The food is all toxic. The water's toxic. There's so much that needs to be restructured just to have a healthy life where everyone thrives, at least in their basic needs, in the core foundations of what it means to be human. Integrity, truth, authenticity, being from your heart, from your soul. And then we build on that. But as long as we have these huge gaps of inequality, we're failing. And that's, go ahead.
It can sound astronomical. It can sound monumental. It can sound like, what can we do when there's so much wrong? Well, my guides have always shown me what is that? A slingshot, a slingshot with one of those rubber bands on it. And the world is the ball on the slingshot. And the world is being pulled back on this slingshot, and the tension and the pressure and the density and the burden of Earth and humanity is all of this tension that is being pulled back on this slingshot. And once we have reached what is that tipping point part, and the galactic center on that, there will be a point where it will all be let go, and we will catapult ourselves forward. We will not have to undo everything one by one, day by day, infarction, or mistake by mistake. It will catapult us forward, so that it will be like a blanket. It will be like a new beginning. It will be like an easier way of starting again. The past will really be left behind just that fast. It'll move. It's not like we have to do this all over again. We don't have to right all of those wrongs to move forward. We will be catapulted forward in an energetic field, in a frequency that all of this will organically create, just like that 13-year-old child that had that idea. It'll be just like when we got cell phones. And can you imagine that we can all talk to each other? I mean, look at this Zoom, all of this technology that has happened in the past 10 years. These things have catapulted us forward and have improved our lives. And there's so many more things. And all of this technology will enable us to be catapulted and move at such a faster pace that we won't have to undo all of these painful things one by one.
So you are describing exactly what it looks like in the transiting sky on the day of the eclipse.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. It is the south node, and you are pulling back, and that is at your handle. And it is catapulted through the north node, which is the way forward. The north node is in Aries, the south is in Libra. And then we have Jupiter on the outside, and we have Saturn or Neptune on the other end on the outside. And all of the other planets are in between in the 8th, 9th, and 10th house.
Like a halo. Watching over
and
us.
It's amazing because when you see it, of course, it's more straight lines. When you're doing this is square to this is trine to this is opposition. And I'm working on 2 charts right now that basically have that in their chart. It's not the exact planets of the eclipse, but that eclipse is going to appear that way on parts of their charts that are this catapult, that are this slingshot, that is Excalibur, that is the crossbow of humanity. And that is definitely where we are.
Yeah. And that's just good. That's going to happen to each individual. It's going to be significant these next couple years. We're all in that space, right? My guide showed me, because I said, oh, how's the whole world going to change just like that? Well, we're at a certain level that it's just going to exponentially roll. Once everybody, it takes, let's say 51% of all of us to understand that if we come from our hearts, we're heart-centered, that's going to be the norm. That's the norm. So you're raising the bar on the norm. And it's just going to keep going, and it's going to happen so quick. And the thing is, it's going to make life enjoyable. Like, we're all getting excited. I could see everybody's relaxing more. They're excited about what they have going on. We might not know the steps or how to make it happen, but that's the beauty of all this, is that we were the front runners of the age of Aquarius, the light workers, love workers, energy workers. We're the ones that come in with a unique way of being, or a unique idea, or realizing we have psychic gifts. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And by each of us having the courage, the heart to stand up and be who we are, gives each of us even more courage, and it just keeps building. So here we are, being the I mean, we're the catalyst for change.
Well, and because of I'm a little bit older than you, so I'm in this. I'm an old hippie, and in 1956, let me get the proper date up here, because this is important to me. On October 19th of 1956, Pluto was exactly opposite where he is right now. Now, if I think about all that was going on in 1956 with American Bandstand and soap operas and the development of television becoming a normal thing and everybody getting a car being a normal thing, which wasn't up until that time. And then think about what began to happen. We had the beatnik movement, which moved right into the hippie movement, right? So by 1963, when Pluto is in Virgo, the sign of scrutiny and analyzation, the hippie generation is now scrutinizing what the values are. War has been brought to television, and we're watching Vietnam play out in front of us. And we know the truth about that was, and watching it on TV for the first time made the warmongers find a way to pump it up and get clickbait even back then. But it made so many of us aware of the ugliness of it. Yes, our heroes come home, not all of them, but those who do come home broken. And then, especially back then, and I can honestly say, no, I never, ever rejected a soldier coming home because I had too many friends go over there and die right off the bat. I went to a very small Catholic high school, graduating class of 33 kids. Of 33 kids, 17 were girls. So those guys, 5 of them died in 1 year.
All because of one guy's ego wanting somebody else's land. It's so ridiculous. But you remember when we used to have those rotary phones, and then once when those rotary phones were moved into a mobile car phone, and then we had the cell phone, how quick did those things become obsolete? And how many of us kept our rotary phones just in case? So you're going to have all different degrees of people holding on to things for different reasons, but you're going to have so many more of us saying, this is so much easier for me to carry it with me. You know, they're going to have a different dynamic. It's going to affect each of us a little differently, probably because of our sun sign and where we are in our own charts, or where this is happening in our own charts. But also it's going to be reflected in this diversity, this beautiful bloom, this beautiful harmonic diversity. And it's important to allow and to trust that what is in our highest good is being presented to all of us. And it's really important to offer this and to keep this in our forethought.
So you talk about the phones, absolutely. Music too. I went from a wire recorder. Tape recorders weren't, I mean, this one was from the mid 40s, right after the war, right? So we had a wire recorder in my house. Then we went reel to reel. Then we got the transistor radio. Then we got 45 RPM record players that mounted upside down in the glove box of your car. Going over railroad tracks was hell on every single record you ever put in there, unless you stopped and just gently bumped across. So we had that. Then we went to 4-track. Then we went to 6-track. Now, I was working around in recording studios back in those days. And in the recording studio, they were already using 16-track cassette recorders to do the recording. No more reel to reel. And we're still hung up on the 8-track when they were that technology was already there. And I'm not saying people didn't use reel to reel, because they did. But when you had the new equipment, man, this is like 1968. They're using cassette players, and there was no such thing. Then we go to the Bluetooth CDs, and now we're in Bluetooth. Yeah. You don't even have to collect records anymore.
And we don't even have the up-to-date technology yet. Haven't. It's not even available to us at the moment. But it's all going to come, because that's off-planet help. This is where the ETs come in and bring in this stuff that cleans up the environment real quick. really takes care of the big issues. Okay, we have to have immediate communication. We're used to it, but it's even better than what we know. To go somewhere in your own, I see it like this: when the traveling, it's like your own Merkaba takes you to where it is you want to go. It's just mind blowing, and here we are stuck, not by any fault of our own or those of us in our community, but because of warmongers, of greed and power. And it's been like that for so long. And that's what Pluto's ultimately going to do here, is expose the greed, the power, that unnecessary. How many, we could go on and on about.
It'll also show us what we are greedy about, what we are trying to control ourselves in our own way of power over, I'm going to control whether or not I get, whatever it is that you are controlling within your own life, that is better off opened up and allow for a spirit and the universe to come in and allow them to create this with you, through you. I think that it's also all of this that we're going to be watching in front of our eyes in society and nationally. It's also going to be occurring in our own personal, private, individual lives. So this is why it's going to be exciting and possibly challenging for many of us. But we're all here supporting one another, and we're all here supporting the collective as well.
It's just, as we go forward, right? And this is something we've all been experiencing during, let's face it, this lifetime for most of us was a culmination lifetime of past lifetimes where we were born knowing a certain amount of information. And knowing how to, really look at yourself when fixing the greed, fixing the things inside of us that Jean was just talking about. And we've been working on that. And
shadow work.
The shadow work. And like you said before, how it seems like so obvious to us. Like as a kid, I was like, what is wrong with everybody here? But they just are. They had to go through all the same stuff we did, learning about how to be human. I'm not sure. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. We're here to support others. Be patient, be kind, be understanding, be forgiving, and it's like those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Right. And it's really important to focus on the equality, that we are all beautiful divine souls working through this human existence, this challenging existence, trying to find our way back to our own soul's essence and existence, and bringing that heaven and unconditional love here back on earth. That's really, believe it or not, what every human is here to do. That's the grand experiment.
Right. Unconditional love. And how do we do that? Gratitude. The simple things will bring us back. Well, we already are doing this at a pace that is mind-blowing. How far we've awakened since 2012. I'm gonna stop talking. My words are stuck.
So rub right here. You can switch yourself right here. Just give it
right here. Oh,
well, right here.
Switch.
Yes,
and this year. No.
We are already under this Aquarius influence, because what is Aquarius? It's quirky. First of all, it's a water bearer, but it's not a water sign. It's an air sign. But what do you need to make electricity? You need to have water in the air. Otherwise, you got what? Static electricity that builds up and builds up and builds up till you get a shock, right? Or you take a balloon and you rub it on your hair. That's static electricity, because it's what's in between. It's what's in between, what is stored in between. So the space between the thing, which like you said before, is microorganisms and micro period. Everything that gets smaller and smaller. I can remember being 4 years old, looking in the blades of grass with my brother and going, well, if these are the ants, what's smaller than them? We must be giants to them. Because, it's the
We
truth.
are,
If
yeah.
I see an ant, I try not to step on it.
Well, my guides had showed me about Aquarius because I would always ask that. If it's a water bearer, why is it doing that? It's getting the higher information from spirit, from the spirit realms, and bringing it, making it manifest onto Earth. And that's what Aquarius does. They have those, just this innate ability. They're unique, they're quirky, they're innovative, they're outside the box. But they make a it makes a good pair with Pluto because Pluto's good with all that as long as you're in integrity and you're being honest, and it's for everyone. See, when we were in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn kind of represented the top 3%, that they had the ball in their court, let's put it that way, and used it to their advantage. Well, you can only do that so long with Pluto, and he'll come back and he'll show you how not being in integrity doesn't pay, really.
Right, because he is the Lord of the underworld. He is
Mm-hmm.
Hades. And what
Mm-hmm.
you can die 1,000 deaths in one lifetime. And so every time an angel gives you a poke, you need to pay attention. Because first he whispers, then he pokes, then he throws a brick at you. What do you want? Before you make the change, or before you listen to the advice, or before you take the route that's being pointed out for you.
Sorry. I was just trying to see what everybody wrote.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot going to be uncovered, and it is going to seem overwhelming and a lot of information coming in at one time.
We've just had another earthquake in Alaska.
Is that why?
That's what that was that I just felt. Yeah, one was a 6.1 deep in the earth, and then I don't know if they just upgraded that one, but I think there was another one because I felt it, and that was a 6.5.
And you see, that's going to be happen in the next couple of days too, because of these. When a sign changes, a planet changes sign, it's especially with Pluto, Kazemi, the sun, meaning in the heart of the sun, it triggers volcanic activity, earthquake activity. But see, this is also triggering for us, right? So the Mother Earth takes a lot of the hit, but we take the hit too. I mean, we're physical beings in a body here, so it's good to hydrate, make sure to give yourself rest, pay attention to what you are feeling, let those, if something comes in that you thought you dealt with, let it, get honored again and release it again in love. It's just, it isn't going to be an easy year, 2 years. It's not. But for those of us who have a heads up and who have a knowing that, okay, Spirit's guidance is focus on what you love and value. That, to me, that helps you with a lot of this other stuff. It's going to be easy though to get wrapped up into the election and who said what and did what and how long is this going to go on. But just know that will end by next November, December.
Right. And even begin to feel a shift forward where we have felt so much frustration because it's like steps forward and 3 back, that whole routine, just because Mercury is out of his shadow. And before too long, Uranus is going to have to join the club.
I mean, Uranus is coming up next week. We're going to feel that too on Mother Earth. Usually volcanic activity and earthquakes when Uranus does something. But see, we have, and Dinah and I will be back on the
On the
full moon,
yeah.
in Leo on, is that Wednesday? But
uh,
the new
the
moon and the full
25th.
moon,
The 25th.
and I'll be with the Chrome Zone tomorrow about the full moon.
And
As
so Uranus stations on the 27th. So
yeah,
there's going to be a lot of that take pause moment. And Uranus station direct is as big a deal as Pluto stationing direct or ingress, either or, because those are powerful moments, period. And we'll have Venus and Mercury and Mars all lined up in Capricorn.
Yeah, so if you have a question for Val and Diana, leave it below after the show if you're watching this later, and maybe some of the points that you would like maybe explained. I want to know everything there is to know about Aquarius and what it means when all the planets move direct, what it means when there are 3 new super new moons, what it means when the eclipse comes through one way and then 2 weeks later, there's another eclipse coming the other way, and what that means for all of us, depending on, I mean, all of these things are coming up, and it's really a dynamic time of in our history that all of this astrological information is so pertinent and so meaningful and impactful to all of humanity and the earth. So it's really important. I mean, I'm not an astrologer. I'm not one but it's important to understand what is going on there to understand what is going on here. And just having all of the community become with the same information and become aware of all of these different dynamics, being aware of it, we're so far ahead of the game, and then finding out what that means for us. But it's important to stay tuned. These ladies are going to be busier than a one-armed paper hanger. I took that from you, Diana, and it is it is so, it's just so dynamic. I'm going to be having little tidbits. I've been preaching it forever that Pluto was going to go into Aquarius for the last 9 months, and everybody's like, "Oh, Jean, she keeps saying this."
But it was important, and I'm so glad you kept doing that because
she's getting astrological downloads. I know she is. She's getting, her team's opening her up to, and that's so cool, right? So that's another thing. Okay, that's something like Jean. Well, she's a medium, but now she's getting all these astrological downloads. What's it mean? It's like your team is wanting to bring in more information for you to go forward.
Right. How it's all connected.
Right.
Because it's all connected.
It is.
It's that atom, and how they've discovered it's not out here, out there, out there, out there. No, they're rotating like the penguins in a rookery,
And not just me, it's for all of us. It's for all of you. It's for all of us together. All of us are going to be experiencing this.
True that, because so many people are awakening in the chat, beginning to realize, oh, that's what that was. I had that all along. I didn't know that I was psychic. Right. Yeah, you are. We all are. We are all the silver thread. And when we pull that thread and we find it out of there and we tie it in a knot and we throw the energy out there, somebody else is going to grab the thread, and they're not going to untie it. They're going to take their threads and they're going to move it into it. And that's, that's all part of my witchcraft stuff, but it's what it is. It's what's been going on since the beginning. It's why we were burned at the stake. Or doused with a rock in our lap.
It's the web of weird, right? This is the mystery. We are all connected.
Aquarius.
Beginning of time, yeah. And for us to go forward, right? Okay, what does that mean? When I say follow your heart, really mean it. Listen to your guides. Know that we are all psychic. We're all empath. We're all intuitive and we're all psychic. We're not all empaths. So
right.
Look at what Jean have.
Just a little heart. And we're I'm sure that Valentine's Day is going to have something that is coming up with the hearts and with
Yeah.
Aquarius. And I mean, and
Right.
with Ron, Unconditional Love's birthday is coming up, and he is an
Yeah.
Aquarius in Aquarius. And
Yep.
he's saying that it all makes so much sense to him, and he's feeling all of these energies. And what does
Mhm.
it mean for you if you are an Aquarius? What if you're not an Aquarius? You know, all of these things. Let us know what your questions are. We'll put them together, and we'll try and address some of these things as we move along, as we're telling you about the astrological signs, and maybe relating back to what you all have. But I'm letting you know this chat is much, much more advanced than any of us ever thought. They are so far
Mhm.
experienced, advanced, aware. They're
Mhm.
star seeds. They do not underestimate anyone in this chat. They
Mhm.
are so dynamic, so important, so aware. We are all light workers. We are all love workers. I love when Val says that. And we all together. I mean, you all teach us. You
Yeah.
all teach me for sure. You all
Yeah.
teach me for sure. And we elevate all of us together. And that's what unity, and that's what collective consciousness and heartfelt unconditional love maybe all really means, right?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's beautiful
Oh,
because we're going to
Hey,
grow. This whole next year, we're going to grow together. We're going to keep
yep.
you updated. I mean, there's many astrology channels, and I would recommend listen to different people's perspective on what's going on. It gives you more and more information for yourself, to gather. But yeah, we love doing this, and we want to. We got a lot of big stuff coming with the eclipses and the Jupiter Uranus conjunction, April 20th. That's
yep.
gonna be that's
And
gonna be
if you need your natal chart, your birth chart, your chart done for the 2024 year, Val is available to do astrological chart readings for you. That will take you out at least 6 months, right, Val? You do it up to
Mm,
6 months when you
yeah.
sometimes.
Most of the in the outer planets, yeah, it would be like
Mhm,
3 to 6, yeah. And
mhm.
Diana does too. Diana
Oh,
does, yeah, she does.
and how did they contact you, Diana? What is your email address?
Oilpainter at AOL.com. It's OILPNTR, like it is in the chat, at AOL.com. And
Well,
then we basically do the same thing as far as doing it in a Zoom meeting and giving you a recording of it so that because there's information just jam packed at you, especially if
Mhm.
you're not familiar with your own blueprint to begin with. So
mm-hmm.
then you have a recording of it that you can download, keep, and refer back to. And of course, either of us are open to questions about that chart as time goes by. Well, I forgot what you mean by this, or what is that? And that is the basis of astrology. You don't have to become an astrologer, but when you know your blueprint, you have such a greater understanding of what the transit is all about.
Right. Oh,
And one
for
of my
you.
favorite
Yeah.
things is don't worry if you got an empty house. When a transiting planet lands in that house for you, he's got nobody to dicker with.
Yeah.
And he's just got full power. So pay attention to that. It's just as important as if it was aspecting something that you had in that house.
And this is important to know. I know I say it, but just so everyone really hears it, we are all the signs. We're all the signs. We have all the signs in our chart. We have the houses. Even if the house is empty, like Diana's saying, you still have there's a
The
flavor of it
influence.
somewhere in your being.
Right.
So that's why we really don't go into like, okay, this is specifically for Cancer or this is for this, because this is collective. And
Right.
if I have your chart, I can narrow. That's narrowing down your divine blueprint,
Right.
right? This is what you were given to navigate through this world with, and that makes I use the transits that are happening now, and I mean it's really good reading.
Well, so case in point, let's say you have a completely empty second house. The second house by nature is a Taurus house
Mhm.
ruled by the planet Venus controls money, is part of that money thing, having nice things, loving luxury, wanting chocolate chocolate over over hot water. It is all of that secret sauce, yummy, yummy. But your house is empty. Does that mean you don't have anything nice? No, hell no. What is aspecting that? If you have financial trouble, what is causing that challenge in the sky? A square, an opposition, a half square, a quincunx. What are those kind of energies? Or in your own chart. What if you have Jupiter squaring your second house? So maybe you have days of great abundance, and then you go through a stretch of bouncing checks every time you turn around, you know? So those are the things that knowing your blueprint can help you with in understanding what's above, so below.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I love what Mary Thornberry put up here. That whole world is going to rock and roll. And this is why, what Diana is saying, what Jean is saying, and Jean gives excellent readings too. This is a good time to get a reading, to focus in on what it is your soul, your team is wanting you to focus in on to go forward. It's in your chart. It's in your energy field, so if Jean's reading you as a medium, you get all these different little nuggets, right, about what makes you you. And
Yep.
this is so important going forward, because
Yep.
we are here making a whole new world,
Right.
with
Yep.
all new
I can tell you about your soul's vibration. I can feel
ah,
that. I can reflect that back. And what Mary says, I think that there may be a new music that's coming in that's going to orchestrate this time in our lives and be another part of our nostalgic history. Wouldn't it be
yeah,
neat to get this really heartfelt, meaningful, you know, um, unifying type of music for the entire world? I mean, there are no borders, really, right? We're all one universe, and don't get me started there, but
Yeah, right.
mhm,
And then some, because now we have Gong Gong that's in a planet that is out there in the universe that has 200 suns or something like that. So,
cool. Yeah.
wow,
so
there's so
everybody's
much
going to
to learn.
experience change. Each sign is going to experience change. And
Oh, everybody,
I
yeah.
have just a little bit of that here. So maybe we can do this for when we come back for the full moon, right? If you leave, if you put something up on your channel and then the kids can leave what their sign is and what house it's in, we can broaden this. Like I have a little synopsis for every sign. This is where you're going to see change. This is where you're going to see change. But let's say your Aries is not in the first house where it normally lives. It's over in the third house. I can enhance that by telling you, if you have Aries in the third house, this is what's going to maybe, the catalyst, the things that you can expect to have happen. But if you put
A
it in
lot,
there, we may not cover that house or that sign, because
right.
that would take a 2-hour show.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot, but it would be a good idea to have somebody assist you if you're not sure what's going on or how to step forward.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many brilliant people in our community. And what else? Well, this is sacred. I want you to really take that in. Give yourself a hug for the last few thousand years. No, I'm not kidding. Like, it's been a hard thousands of lifetimes. It's been really difficult, and here we are. We're coming out of it. It's just the baby steps. And honor who you are, honor your being, because your higher self is merging more with your physical body. That's really what's going on here. So when your higher self, that's your heart. When your heart says, I really want to uh, do horse racing, that's what you're going to do. That, go for it. Whatever it is, really pay attention to what you love and value as your higher self comes in. And as the world gets examined by Pluto, because it is about, transform or die. That's Pluto, in especially with these types of energies that have seemingly had the upper hand for so long. That's not going to continue.
Take good
Just,
care of yourselves, everybody, and take good
Yes.
care of everybody else, and have patience, have understanding, sensitivity, and ultimately unconditional love. And we really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, Diana and Valerie, for including me and inviting me. I am on such a high with all of this stuff. I can't wait to watch the show that you're doing with the Crone Zone tomorrow, and going over this a little bit more in detail. And it's just so very exciting. And I'm really honored that you asked me and invited me in to be a part of it. I am enthusiastic, just a little bit over the top, but it's for real. It's
You're
genuine.
not alone. Can you tell Mercury is like hyped up now? Because listen to us. I can't stop. And if I stop here, it doesn't stop here.
It doesn't stop here.
Yeah, right.
You're just like,
Right.
But we actually have like 2 hours. 2 hours, and then Pluto's going to be in Aquarius. The sun went into Aquarius earlier this morning. So there's that still, right?
Does it matter where you are on the planet, like at East Coast or West Coast, or which continent? Does it matter there? Like, how do they know that? Is it from the center point of the Earth?
No, you adjust for your time zone.
You adjust for your time zone. Like everything is. So I know in our Eastern time zone, it is changing, going into Aquarius. Pluto's going into Aquarius at, what was it, 7:38? Something like that.
It's 8. It goes in at 8. I wrote it down.
Oh, 8:39.
It goes in at
2 hours.
8:39. It goes in at 8:39, approximately in there, give or take a few minutes on the East Coast. But it's 5 o'clock, 5:39 in Pacific. So you adjust for your time zone.
But it's still going in.
Yeah. At the same moment, just the different time zones.
So what is it called? Tell me again. I always forget that term, that it's at the center point in the center of the Earth. And what astrological science? What does that mean? Maybe I'm not describing.
Capricorn and Cancer.
No, there's a center. There's like, so you don't have to know where your time zone is. It's just looking from the point of the center of the Earth, and then I don't know what that is. Well,
I don't know what that is.
Maybe afterwards.
I'm going to have to go down a rabbit hole.
I know, right? The thing, and
I've been doing it this way for so long. I've never thought of doing it without a chart.
I couldn't, because everything is, when you make a chart, right, it's birth time, it's birthplace, it's birthday, right?
Right. In solar arc, from the center here looking up, it's solar arc. But what we look at, we think the sun is in Capricorn, or going into Aquarius, but up in the sky, it's already one sign behind. It's a sign behind. If you do Eastern astrology,
Vedic, yeah. See, this is
like
where
Hogarth, the way Hogarth.
And we don't want to, confuse people.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, thank you all very much. I really enjoyed being here. It was such a wonderful show. I loved all of the hype, all of the energy, all of the contribution from everybody here in the chat. Yeah. And Val and Diana, you did a beautiful job explaining the Pluto entering Aquarius.
Dear, thank you.
We love you all, and thank you, Jean, for coming over here last minute. Thank you, Diana, for always being with me. I love you both, and I love you all. You too. And we'll see you on the full moon in Leo.
Yep. Namaste.
Bye-bye.